Throughout history, most cultures have considered warfare to be the domain of men. It is only quite recently that female soldiers have participated in modern combat on a large scale. The exception is the Soviet Union, which included female battalions and pilots during the First World War and saw hundreds of thousands of women soldiers fight in World War II. Here are 10 of history's fiercest warriors who not only had to face their enemies, but also the strict gender roles of their day. 10th, Zenobia. The queen of Syria's Pomeranian Empire from 267 AD, Zenobia conquered Egypt from the Romans only 2 years into her reign. Her empire only lasted a short while longer, however, as the Roman Emperor Aurelian defeated her in 271, taking her back to Rome, where she married a Roman governor and lived out a life of luxury as a well-known philosopher, socialite and matron. Dubbed the Warrior Queen, Zenobia was well-educated and multilingual. She was known to behave like a man, riding, drinking and hunting with her officers. 9th, Trite Tran. Commonly referred to as Lady Trieu, this warrior of 3rd century Vietnam temporarily freed her homeland from Chinese rule. That is according to traditional Vietnamese sources at least, which also state that she was 9 feet tall with 3-foot breasts that she tied behind her back during battle. She usually fought while riding an elephant. Chinese historical sources make no mention of Trieu Tran, yet for the Vietnamese, Lady Trieu is the most important historical figure of her time. 8th, Boudica. Queen of the British Celtic Iceni tribe, Boudica led an uprising against the forces of the Roman Empire in Britain after the Romans ignored her husband Prasutagus' will, which left rule of his kingdom to both Rome and his daughters. Upon Prasutagus' death, the Romans seized control, flogged Boudica, and Roman soldiers raped her daughters. Boudica led an army of Iceni and Trinovantes and waged a devastating campaign on Roman Britain. She destroyed 3 Roman towns, Camulodunum, Verulamium and Londinium, and also all but annihilated one of the Roman legions in Britain, the famous 9th Legion. In the end, Boudica and her army were defeated by the Romans somewhere along Waterloo Street, and Boudica committed suicide not long after. 7th, Queen Tuda. Tuda was the queen of the Ardeai tribe in Illyria during the late 3rd century BC. In 230 BC, she was acting as regent for her infant stepson when a Roman embassy arrived at her court to mediate concerns about Illyrian expansion along the Adriatic shoreline. During the meeting, however, one of the Roman delegates lost his temper and began to shout at the Illyrian queen. Outraged by the outburst, Tuda had the young diplomat murdered. The incident marked the outbreak of the First Illyrian War between Rome and Tuda's Illyria. By 228 BC, Rome had emerged victorious and Tuda was banished from her homeland. 5th and 6th, Olympias and Eurydice. The mother of Alexander the Great, Olympias was one of the most remarkable women in antiquity. She was a princess of the most powerful tribe in Epirus, and her family claimed descent from Achilles. In 358 BC, Olympias' uncle, the Meletian king Erebus, married Olympias to King Philip II of Macedonia to secure the strongest possible alliance. She gave birth to Alexander the Great 2 years later in 356 BC. 4th, Cynaine. Cynaine was the daughter of King Philip II of Macedon and his first wife, the Illyrian princess Otida. She was also the half-sister of Alexander the Great. Cynaine accompanied the Macedonian army on campaign alongside Alexander the Great, and according to the historian Polyaenus, she once slew an Illyrian queen and masterminded the slaughter of her army. 3rd, Artemisia. The ancient Greek queen of Halicarnassus, Artemisia, ruled during the late 5th century BC. Herodotus writes that she was a decisive and intelligent, though ruthless strategist. She was an ally to the king of Persia, Xerxes I, and fought for him during the Second Persian invasion of Greece, personally commanding 5 ships at the Battle of Salamis. According to Polyaenus, Xerxes praised Artemisia above all other officers in his fleet and rewarded her for her performance in battle. Second, Tomyris. Tamiris was the queen of the Msmojo, a confederation of nomadic tribes that lived east of the Caspian Sea. She ruled during the 6th century BC and is most famous for the vengeful war she waged against the Persian king, Cyrus the Great. Initially the war did not go well for Tamiris and the Msmojo. Cyrus destroyed their army and Tamiris' son, Sparta committed suicide out of shame. The grief-stricken Tamiris raised another army and challenged Cyrus to battle a second time. Cyrus believed another victory was certain and accepted the challenge, but in the ensuing engagement Tamiris emerged victorious. Cyrus himself fell in the melee. During his reign he had won many battles and defeated many of the most powerful men of his time, yet Tamiris proved a queen too far. First, Fu Hao. Lady Fu Hao was one of the 60 wives of Emperor Wu Ding of ancient China's Shuang Dynasty. She broke with tradition by serving as both a high priestess and military general. According to inscriptions on oracle bones from the time, Fu Hao led many military campaigns, commanded 13,000 soldiers and was considered the most powerful military leader of her time. The many weapons found in her tomb support Fu Hao's status as a great military power. She also controlled her own fiefdom on the outskirts of her husband's empire. Her tomb was unearthed in 1976 and can be visited by the public.